What's up, Unlocking Your Inner Strength listeners? How would you like to know how to set your environments up so they're peak productivity environments? Most people have no clue how to do this. Well, I have good news for you. I've put together a special report showing you how to do this. Normally, it's $45, but since you're a loyal listener to the show, you can get it for only $10 at unlockingyourinnerstrength.com/time.
You're listening to The Inner Strength Show. If you want to step into your greatness, you've come to the right place. Here is your host, the human strength expert, Kyle Newell.
What's up, everybody? It's Kyle from Newell Strength and Unlocking Your Inner Strength with episode number 82 of the Unlocking Your Inner Strength show. Today, we're going to talk about what you should be working on in the gym. This is going to include about what 95% of the people out there should be focusing on. And next episode, I know I was going to talk a little bit about hormones this episode. I'm going to talk about that next episode. But before we dive into that of what to be working on in the gym, based off what we talked about last time in the joints, I want to talk about a mindset piece. So in the book, Good to Great, a great book that I have picked up in the past, never read all the way through, but now I'm reading it all the way through. He talks about Admiral Stockdale, who was a prisoner of war in Vietnam. I want to actually read the guy's book because he was put through, he was basically disfigured. He was punished extremely. He didn't have any prisoner rights. I mean, the guy really went through hell and he made it through. And he's spoken about his story a lot. And the main paradox was, though, that you have to have faith that you're going to succeed while confronting the brutal facts. Meaning most people are just overly optimistic and they don't want to think about the cost of success, or they don't want to think about all the obstacles that are going to be in their way, or that things might be really crappy right now and very tough. Yet you have to have faith that somehow it's going to work out. So it's not just being overly optimistic where everything is going to be roses and all that. So it's a paradox, right? Have the faith that everything is going to work out, yet confront the brutal facts of your situation. And that can apply to anybody's situation out there. So as far as what to work on in the gym, we have two sets of muscle groups. You have phasic and tonic, okay? So tonic, I want you to think of as tone. So these muscles get short and tight as we age, short and tight. Now, I'm sitting right here, right? Most people have day jobs where they're sitting. And when you're sitting all the time, certain muscles are going to get short and tight. And then this just happens naturally, again, as we age. But your chest muscles, your pectorals get short and tight. Okay, they bring the shoulders together. Your hamstrings, your calves are going to get short and tight. Okay, so if I'm in a seated position, you can't see my legs right here. But my legs are flexed, meaning those muscles are shorter than if I was standing. And if I'm chronically or constantly sitting, they're going to be put into that position. My hip flexors, again, when I'm sitting in a position, they're short and tight. The biceps are going to get short and tight as we age. So these muscles, even though there are a lot of muscles, I shouldn't say all of them, but the chest and the biceps, these are muscles of vanity, I would like to say. So most people, if they don't know what they're doing, or the average person goes into the gym, they want to work on their chest, they want to work on their biceps, the muscles that they can see. You don't really need to build those muscles up as much as you do need to stretch them. It's very important to stretch those muscle groups out. And that will tie in. So remember, the muscles basically attach to bones, which make up your joints. So if you can factor in and remember this stuff, right, the tonic muscles get short and tight, but you also remember the joints that I went over last episode, where the body's just a stack of joints, which means if you went from the bottom up, the ankle is a mobile joint, the knee is a stable joint, the hips are a mobile joint, lumbar, your low back, is a stable joint, mid back, your thoracic back, okay, upper back, opposing the sternum, is a mobile joint. So all of your joints, to be healthy, another thing you need to do in the gym is you need to make sure you have proper mobility in every single joint. Now, some joints need more mobility, like your hips and your ankles and your upper back. Usually take care of that within the warm-up and within your rolling out. But to get a joint completely healthy, you need to take it through a full range of motion. What's up, Unlocking Your Inner Strength listeners? How would you like to know how to set your environments up so they're peak productivity environments? Most people have no clue how to do this. Well, I have good news for you. I've put together a special report showing you how to do this. Normally it's $45, but since you're a loyal listener to the show, you can get it for only $10 at unlockingyourinnerstrength.com/time. The only way a joint can get synovial fluid. So synovial fluid is like WD-40 for the joints. The only way you fully lubricate a joint synovial fluid is to take it to a full range of motion. Yet if somebody's injured or if they had something, surgery or whatnot, what a doctor's going to tell you. So let's say if it was my finger, a doctor's going to say, keep that straight, keep it stable. Now I made that first mistake with my first knee, and it's exactly that. It was a huge mistake. Now, with the patellar tendon rupture, you do have to be careful because there's a lot of stuff that's sewed back together, but I kept it straight way too long because I listened to them, and then it was basically a frozen leg for months. So if my finger was busted up, and what I tell people, how I jam my finger, okay, well, you got to just, when you're sitting around, take it to a full range of motion. And you'll notice that after you do this with any joint, it's going to start to gain more and more range of motion over the course of a couple minutes. So that's that. So we have tonic muscles that get short and tight as we age: chest, hamstrings, calves, hip flexors, and biceps. We have a stack of joints. Now you have your phasic muscles. Your phasic muscles are the ones that are going to get smaller and they're going to get weak as we age. So these are your muscles of youth. And the interesting thing is they're pretty much muscles that we cannot see. Besides your deltoids, and I'm not even going to really talk about them too much here, but these are your muscles that we cannot see typically. So your rhomboids, your mid-back, that's going to get weak and it's going to atrophy. Atrophy means to break down or to kind of shrink. So your mid-back, your glutes, your big powerhouse muscles, those are going to get smaller and weaker as we age. Now, I will say your hips, just like with athletes, are your key, I believe, to how the body functions. You need hip mobility and you need a lot of hip power and hip strength. And then you also have your triceps. Triceps, the pushing muscles, right? They're going to get weaker and smaller as we age. So how can you attack this? Some of the things that we have people do, especially anybody that's over 30, 35 years old, is in their warm-up. We'll have them do what's called a bat wing. So they're going to be working on that mid-back, kind of activating it, getting the muscles firing. They're going to be doing deep goblet squats or some kind of glute bridge where they're going to get their glutes firing. And then you can even do light tricep press down. I like to do 100 reps beginning of every workout. It helps my joints, and it also giving that stimulus to the triceps to turn them on a little bit. So you want to stretch the tonic muscles. You want to strengthen the phasic muscles. You want to take all your joints to a complete range of motion. So if you remember that and you just made a list of, and went back and listened to this, made a list of what I talked about, you would again be 95% ahead of the rest of the population in terms of your knowledge of what to train and what to do. Another thing that you have to piece together with this, if we're talking a little bit about what to put into your body, is hydration. Synovial fluid is made up largely of water, and your muscles are made up largely of water. There's a great book. I posted something about it last week. Your Body's Many Cries for Water by an Iranian doctor, Katmanjali, I believe his name was. And he did all this fascinating research. And he was the physician at a prison in the Middle East. And he was given very, very piss poor facilities and means of helping these soldiers out. And they would come to him with all these ailments and all these diseases and, dysfunctions of the body. And he really didn't have anything to use except having them hydrate. So he started experimenting with having them hydrate. And oddly enough, almost all of these symptoms guys were coming to this doctor with and complaining of would clear up. They were simply dehydrated. They were in the Middle East. They were worked to the bone, and they were getting muscle aches. They were getting GI issues, low back issues. So a lot of times, if the body is not hydrated, it's going to let you know through pain or discomfort. But to keep the joints healthy and to keep the muscles fully healthy and fluid, we need to hydrate. The rule of thumb I like to follow without going too crazy is at a minimum, I give myself half a point every day if I do at least half a gallon, which doesn't sound like that much, and it's not, but it keeps me out of that dehydrated state. And then we can do stuff like supplementing with sea salt and putting that into your water and whatnot. So if you can remember that stuff, and you add in some of the stuff I talked about last episode with training at different angles and changing your grip up, full range of motion, train the muscles that are going to get short and tight as we age. So a lot of the muscles on the front, chest, bicep, hip flexor, abdominals, and strengthen and build up the muscles that are going to shrink and get weaker as we age, your mid-back, your glutes, your triceps. You're going to have a healthy body. And everything you do in the gym is, unless you're a competitor, it's not for vanity, right? That's a side effect of how you're going to look. But train, I want you to think of what are you going to want to feel like when you're 60, 70, 80, 90 years old? How are you going to want to live life? Where do you want your fitness level to be? What type of activity do you want to be doing at that age? And you start training for that now, because that's what you're going to want anyway. Your body is going to change no matter what you do. It's going to age. It's going to look different. It's not going to look as youthful one day. That's just what happens. So train for youth. That would be my advice to you. So that's all I have for episode number 82. Thanks for tuning in. If you have not left a review on iTunes yet, please do so. That helps me out a lot. And next episode, which will probably be on Monday, I'll be talking about hormones and diving into that the next few episodes and kind of breaking it down so it's simplified, but so you have a base understanding. All right. Thanks for checking in. Peace.
You've been listening to The Inner Strength Show. If you enjoyed the show, remember to subscribe, rate, and review us in iTunes.